Welcome to another wonderful day. Well, this is the Stormtrooper. It's a 2008 Mazdaspeed 3. I've owned this since day one. I bought it when it had 32 miles on it. Now it's got 100,000 plus, and we've got some maintenance to do. Let's get into it. All right, well, there she is. Got her to the driveway, sort of ready to get worked on. I absolutely love this car, by the way, you guys. Anyway, just crossed 100,000 miles. Never really had too big of problems with her, but just the other day she started shitting out a little tranny fluid onto the driveway, and lo and behold, there's a pretty common problem, which I doubt you can see right now, but we're going to take off this air cleaner here, and we're going to take a look at the pivot shaft for the shifter. It seems the seal broke and there's some transmission fluid now leaking. So we're going to take care of that today. The legendary, in my book, 2.3 liter turbo from Mazda that ran, man, I don't know, 2004 until just a couple years ago, where they switched to the 2.5, and then now they have the Sky Actives and everything. But let me tell you, this guy is fucking bulletproof. Absolutely bulletproof. Anyway, so we're going to be working here under the air cleaner. I've got some aftermarket stuff on mine, so I'll just give you a quick once over. This is the Forge Motorsport bypass valve. It's made out of, I believe, steel. Holds boost a lot better than that plastic original one. This is the SRI from Cobb Tuning. There's a Cobb inlet hose. There's a Shure, what is this, a recirc hose, I guess. So pretty much what I did was I bolted on all the way into the front of the engine. Everything in front of the turbo is a bolt-on aftermarket, and then I got a chip in this thing, or the Cobb Tuning access port, if you will, is actually what I'm running. Absolutely flawless since day one, and I put most of these mods on in the first 10,000 miles I owned the car. It's been great. During the course of the video, I'll probably call out some of the issues I've had. This is the third issue I've ever had with this car in, what is it, 11 going on 12 years of ownership now. Absolutely legendary car in my book. So anyway, we need to get down to the, I don't know if you guys can see in there, but we've got a shifting linkage, we've got the pivot shaft, and then we've got a puddle of transmission fluid down there. So that's what we're going to chase down. The whole undercarriage protector is also just completely soaked. So we're going to tear this beast apart and take care of this today. Let's get to it. First things first, let's get all this out of the way here. I'm going to try to get away with just taking off the SRI, and I'm really hoping that I won't have to. I'm really hoping that I won't have to take off the turbo inlet hose or anything like that. Boy, I haven't been in here for a long time, can you tell? I'm really nervous about... There we go. Don't want to break anything. She's getting a little up there in age, so we never know. Alright, so we're still connected to this down here. Yeah, I want to take this off too, I think. What should we try? I'm trying 11. Let's see if these are 11s. Might be a 10. Alright, she's a 10. She's a 10. I'm going to go ahead and dip into some speed tools here. There we are. See if we can't get this in here. Cheater. Cheater. Alright, don't lose those. And let's see if we can't unhook and escape. Oh yeah, it's one of my favorite bugs right there. We can talk about that later. Alright, good. So mass airflow sensor is removed, SRI is removed, and now we can get down to the stuff that we really need to look at, which is our pivot shaft. And this is, you know, the linkage for the shifter. Okay, so this thing's moving in and out. Looks like I got a short shifting kit on there. Had it since day one. Loved it. It's amazing. This is the pivot shaft boot. And then this is the transmission fluid that is coming out from underneath here. So we're going to try to grab this whole thing and zip her on out of there. Man, it's soggy down there. Yeah, this definitely needs to be done. So anyway, there's a couple steps here. We're going to have to pop off some of these linkages here for the shifter. I don't believe we'll have to disconnect much else. This pole's annoying. Alright, I was kind of annoyed by this hood prop potentially being in the way the whole time, so I went ahead and improvised a hood prop 9000, as they say on so many YouTube channels here. Alright, good. It's time to start popping some linkages. I think I'm going to take these two off right here. Alright, so pry bar, screwdriver, whatever you want. You want to try to get in there and just give her a pop. She should just come off. Yep. This guy as well. Same thing. And I'm just going to be gingerly with this thing because I haven't taken this apart for 90,000 miles. There we go. Nothing broke. Very good. So now we got these guys off. That's pretty good. And looks like we might be ready to start messing with this pivot shaft here. I'm gonna just feel down in here. Okay, so this bracket, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bolts that we're gonna need to take off. Get this bad boy out of here. So let's go ahead and get to it. It's not a 10. Let's go to 12. Yeah, that seems legit. Oh boy, that's on there. That took some effort. That took some effort. Okay, that one let go with somewhat less resistance. By the way, if you don't own one of these, they are the best. One of these Milwaukee M12 tools, so good. Alright, let's see if we can't get in a gear that'll allow us to get to this other bolt. Oh boy. Get on there, honey. Might actually have to do that one the old-fashioned way. We'll see if I can get a hold of it. Oh yeah, I got her. I got her. Oh, there she is. Get on off of there. Alright. So what do we got? 1, 2, 1. She's coming. She's still pretty locked in there. Wow, that wasn't tight at all. Okay, and then we got the last one hiding right there. Let's see if we can. Boy, those two bracket bolts were pretty loose. Okay, looks like this piece is going to come off first here. So let me go ahead and zip them off there. Looks like the longer bolt came from the front side of this. So I'm just going to go ahead and make a note. Got some Loctite on there or something. Okay, so longer bolt in the front, guys. Let's see if we can't get this little guy. Oh yeah, look at that. There she goes. Looks pretty good. Looking pretty good. This piece right here sometimes gets worn out, but she's looking alright. She's a little cruddy. She's a little cruddy. But this piece slides into this little area underneath. During operation, like so. Oh boy, look at that. It just came right off. So don't lose that, eh? Here we go. Mental note, long bolt towards the front. Alright, good. So now we've got the remaining bolts left here that we're going to zip off. 2, 3 left, it looks like. Let's go ahead and just get them the rest of the way out of there. 12mm bolt. Yeah, we got some thread sealant on these. Oh, she's not coming out yet. Not quite ready. There we go. Now she's ready for the prom. Alright, there's some washers on these too, okay, so I'm just trying to take inventory. Make sure that everything goes back the way it went in. Okay, all three bolts look the same length. There's just some thread sealant on these. So I'm going to go ahead and file these here. Looks like our other bolts also have washers. Good, good. Alrighty then. So now it's time to bust this guy loose. And she seems pretty well sealed. This action is okay. This is the reverse action. You go up and down on the gear shift. Sort of like a Volkswagen or an old school Porsche. And let me find my pry bar. And I think what I'm going to do is try to knock her loose. I think this is a good leverage point right here. Just to try to knock her loose. So let me do that. Now I might be grunting like it's hard, but I'm really not going to push my luck too much here. Just going to try to get her to come out nice and easy. I'd really rather not break something major on my car here. Try to get some uplift, perhaps. Well, she might have come on a little bit. Let's try a bit more here. Might have to get a bigger pry bar out. Let's just go ahead and upgrade. Alright, so again, trying to pry from this heavy duty spot here on the trans. I'm going to try to just break her. Wow! First finger smash of the day. Boy, that's on there, eh? Try to get her out some more. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And there we are. Okay, so prying down here, lifting a little while you pry, because I see why my first prying wasn't working. Okay, so we broke her loose. She's in there, and theoretically she just comes out like a nice cooperative pivot shaft. Oh, we're not going to be that lucky. So let's just try to get on in there and see if we can. Oh, yeah. Okay, so it's kind of like a camshaft. Kind of like a cam. You're going to have to fiddly-do with her a little bit. Ah, there she went. Perfect. Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy, let's look down into our transmission, eh? Well, everything looks wonderful. So there it is. The pivot shaft assembly. Oh, she stinks. Ugh. Trans fluid, I can never get used to it. Alright, we got a little bit of gasket material here. so we got a little cleaning to do. Anyway, now's the time that we head on over to the workbench and start disassembling this guy, and we'll go over the parts that we're going to replace. All right, so here's your, oh yeah, hold on. I don't want to get junk all over my table. Let's see what we've got. I need some cardboard or something. Yeah, that'll work. The baby box. Yeah, let's put some cardboard down. Yeah. Let the rage out. Let the rage flow. Alright, let's see. Let's see here. There we go. Alright, let's try this again, shall we? So here's the pivot shaft. Let's talk about the parts. I went to... Are you going to focus? You're not going to focus. There's no way you're going to focus. You're not going to focus. Okay, well, it is... shout-outs to Jason Fleming of Avondale Mazda from Avondale, Arizona. He's a guy who sells these kits. You can find them on Amazon pretty easy. And you know, look, this isn't going to be the only video on YouTube about doing this, so I'm not going to pretend I'm like the first guy to ever hear of Avondale Mazda. But there's a bearing. This is the culprit here that's causing the leak, though, the seal. Goes somewhere in this doohickey right here. Okay, and then sometimes what also causes the leaking will be the breather port. So if the breather is gummed up, let's see where we got it. There's your breather right there. So maybe this guy's gummed up a little bit. It's not breathing right. We'll give her a test. I'm not necessarily inclined to replace everything just to replace it. Again, this car has been amazing for 100,000 miles. And, you know, I think I would expect a little piece of rubber to go bad. But, to be honest, I like the way the shifting feels, so I'm not sure I'm going to put this one in. And if I test this breather and it's breathing, I'm going to hold on to this too. And we'll just replace this guy. So there we go. So what's on the pivot shaft here? You've got I've got my shift kit, my short shifter kit here, courtesy of Sure Motorsports. Got a little counterweight and all that. I don't think I have to take any of that off. Looks like my boot is in pretty good shape. Got cotter pins, we've got some paint marks. So I think I'm just going to hop into it and start disassembling. Cue the fast forwarding of the guy struggling with the stuff and the things. Alright, so I ended up pulling out the guide bolt as well. It's a 14 millimeter bolt that goes right into the side of this guy. I was able to pull the shaft without removing the bolt, but it might make life easier to remove the 14 millimeter before you start taking off these top ones. Seems fine to me. I'm just going to clean it up a little bit, file it with the others. Alright, okay, so, you know, I always love to do the right thing, as they say on some YouTube channels. And leave it, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? It's just leaking a little fluid here. I don't have any problem with this linkage, so I'm not really worried about reconditioning the whole thing or doing anything fancy. So as I'm cleaning this guy up, I'm noticing that there is some scuzz on it. I'm not really interested in going buck wild with replacing everything. You know, as far as I'm concerned, this thing ain't broke, so I don't need to fix much on it. I might change my mind as we go, but yeah, see, as I'm wiping her down, I'm seeing gunk start there and then gunk not be there anymore. So I think I am going to take some brake cleaner and give it a once over. Okay, good. So I took a little time. I just sort of wiped it off a little bit. I'm going to start disassembling. So there's a cotter pin right in that little blurry hole that you can't see. And it goes all the way through. You want to push this guy out. I'm going to use a punch and try to push it through. Yeah, she's coming. She is coming. All right, don't lose that. Alright, so pretty much the only reason you want to clean this thing up is so that you can take like a Sharpie and mark the alignment of the assembly. That's pretty much it. So that's what I did right there. So now when I put it back together, it'll at least be in the ballpark. I like to, I guess I thought maybe I'll use the cotter pin hole to line it up with, so I just threw the line right there. Theoretically, this thing should just blast right apart now. And I gotta unhook the boot. I'm being extra gingerly with the boot. Hey, look at that, 13 years old. It's really good shape, this boot. Mazda, I'm proud of you for making such high quality parts. Alright, so there's the pivot shaft. There's the lid. This is where the bearing lives that we'll consider replacing. We'll have to push that guy out or do something with it. And these little doohickeys right here look pretty clean. They look pretty good. So I'm just sort of, you know, looking at how they're assembled, making a note of it for when I take them apart. It also helps to make a video so you can go back and look at your video. Anyway, we'll continue to disassemble. Funny story, I was showing you guys this bearing in here, but this is actually where the seal is supposed to sit. I was wondering, where the hell's the seal? There she is. She doesn't look too gnarred up, but she does feel a little petrified. Make a note on how it was installed so that when you place it in, there's one side has a groove, one side does not. Make a note of that. Let's keep at it. As we continue to clean here, it's time to clean the mating surfaces, and I tried to hit this with brake clean, but it still looks gnarly. So I think I'm going to break out the big guns here. But I want to caution you guys, use sparingly. You see, it cleans it up, but since this is aluminum, if you have a steel brush like this, it's bad news bears. So use very sparingly, very light, if you're going to use this. I'm not going to use the steel brush. I found something that was a little softer, and I think I was able to clean it up pretty well. Here you can see where I hit it just for a second with the drill. It really dug in. But then this is by hand here, so I'm going to try to just all around and get her cleaned up. Little brake clean here or there. Alright, cool, so we got her cleaned up just a little bit here with the brush. I realized halfway through doing it that I really don't care that much, so it's like halfway cleaned. Anyway, clean the mating surfaces though for sure, because stuff will leak. You know, scrubbing the top of it with a steel brush is for looks. This, you gotta have it. You gotta have it. So, razor blade around the edges. Might be able to get away with the soft steel brush as well. Maybe even a nylon brush. You never know. Let's try this steel guy. Oh yeah, it's working like magic. I'm not pushing too much at all, because again, aluminum part, steel brush, it'll cut through it like butter. So there we go. Let's attack this right here. No pressure at all. Booyaka. Less is more. No pressure. Give her a nice brake clean hose down. And then wipe her off. And you got yourself a clean mating surface. I was sitting here thinking about it, and I realized that my wife would kill me if I spent $50 on a rubber grommet. So I better get this, I better replace the old bearing. This one does fly a lot easier. She's got the lube on her, so maybe that's why she doesn't want to fly, but let's go ahead and do it. I'm going to use a 17 mil socket and a big fucking hammer. We're going to see if we can't push her out. I've heard 19s work better, but I don't have a 19, so 17 it is. Take your time, you're dealing with aluminum. Okay, so aligning this guy, you've got a thick rim on one side of this bearing and a thin rim on the other. I was beating the shit out of the thick rim through the top of it. So the side of the bearing with the letters faces upward. See if we can't get her in there. Yep, she's going in nicely. Okay, this is pretty close. It's going to be kind of tough to see the details, but there's a little lip on the inside of this that you want it to line up with. And it recesses down in there just a hair. So this is pretty much in there. Let's go ahead and replace the breather while we're here too. I think my breather's still good, but again, $50 for a bearing and a rubber. At least I can say a breather, and the wife will think it's something more substantial than this. I'm going to try to punch it out from the back side. Not sure that's working. Okay, so she started coming out. I just needed to go to the corner of the table because apparently the middle of the table was absorbing all of the impact. Just like TV magic. Let's give it a try, shall we? Oh wow, that's plugged up. Yep. There's our culprit. Nope. Wow. There's a little bit of resistance on both. Anyway, this one, I'm going to try to get a socket that fits over this and can hit the lip. And we'll put her on. BRB. Okay, I located the socket. It ended up being a 13 in my toolkit. And what I'm going to try to do is slip the socket over the breather, but hit this lip and put her on in. All right, a few minutes of working her in there. Still working just fine. Just gonna try to lock her down. And on the back side here, this should be flush, and this top piece should be flush as well. So you can see I've got a millimeter or two to go. Very close. And there we are. Flush and flush. Oop, there's a piece of my glove on there. Guess it's time for a new glove. Let's see if we can't reassemble in record time here. So we've got the bearing in, we've got the breather on. Time for the seal, but the eternal question, do you put the notch in and the flat side out? How does that go? Pretty simple answer. You want to drop it in so that the flat side is flush here. And I'm just going to push it in with my fingers. And there you go. It's a little inset. So replacing this guy right here is going to cure all of that trans fluid leaking. Let's get her back together now, shall we? Pivot shaft. Shifty, guidey thingamajigger. Doohickey that goes around that. Lid. Let's refer to our marks. So I've got the world's lightest Sharpie mark right there. I've also got a little baby Sharpie mark right here. There you go. Although this is a no-brainer because you can't get it wrong. It won't line up any other way. So there it is. Let's see if there is a whoop. Careful not to disturb the old grommet there. Okay, and then we put this guy back together using our mark. Did I wipe the mark off? Oh boy. Now at the end of the day, what you want is for your cotter pin hole to line up with the cotter pin hole. So let's try to make that happen. It's not really that possible to be off by all that much. So anybody who's going to beat you up about not using a paint pen or whatever, they've clearly just not been in here. Okay, there we go. All right, our cotter pin hole is lined up, and we've got our assembly together. Old dad flashlight, cotter pin. I'm going to go ahead and try to get this cotter pin in there. The least painful way possible, which would just be to hit it with this. Oh no! Alright, let's try that again, shall we? So it looks like the only movement is vertically here. And I know there's probably not much detail going on your screen, but I'm trying to get the old cotter pin started. And then what we do is mess with it north and south to get her to align. Okay. Oh yeah, she's going in like butter. Okay, so now we're just going to seat her down. It's almost nice that you have a flimsy table because it makes your hammering very forgiving. And you can see I'm really choked up on this thing. Where's my punch? You're gonna be too big. You might be the right size, but I'm gonna go one bigger. Okay. And I think I'm just gonna flush her up. I'm gonna get her flush-ish there and flush-ish here. Flush-ish, a little bit recessed. I'm going to give her a couple more knocks. Tiny bit inset, tiny bit inset. There we are. Don't forget, rehook the boot. Alrighty then. Just going to give that guy a little cleaning since that plastic piece slides in there. And I'm going to go ahead and assume all this other gunk is just going to end up back on there anyway, so who cares? There you go, back together. Let's drop her in. Alright, I forgot to clean these mating surface. You can almost use your fingers. Stuff's coming off super easy. Let's give her a shot of the old brake clean. I'm gonna assume that old thread seal is good still, and we're gonna make ourselves a gasket, oil resistant. Alright, I guess we're just gonna do a dollop of the dibbity doos over here and there and wherever it needs to be. I think I'm gonna lay it in there so that I can just zerp. You gotta make the noise. You gotta make the noise or it's not working. Oh, excuse me. Suppose I should give that a few minutes. Alright, while I'm letting that set up, I think I'm going to lightly clean this arm. This stuff, it feels like steel. She's not. Boy, I almost feel like lubing this little guy up here a little bit. The yellow is the lube that's already there. I don't want to take that off. I almost want to add some to the outside here. Do I have lube? I do. I'm just going to give her a little rat chair. Assembly feels good. I'm going to do a little more than a little. I'm going to do a lot. And I'm going to cover her over out here too. Why not? All right, good. That's set up quite enough, I'm sure. Let's go ahead and jam her back in there, shall we? All right, eyeballing it. Looks like it's something like a that. And according to all the YouTube videos that I'm currently plagiarizing, you pretty much just fiddle around with her a little bit and be patient, and she should drop in there. So that's what we're going to do. Oh, there's one. There's one step. I'm pretty much just turning this back and forth, and she's slipping on in there. And don't get frustrated now. Whatever you do, don't get frustrated. Just let it happen. Just like in high school with Mary Jane Rottencrotch. Just let it happen. I'm guessing when you know you know. Ha! She's in. Yeah, yeah, she's in. Yeah. Alright. So I know the long one definitely goes here. I believe the shorty goes here with this other linkage. I guess this would have helped to pay attention in class earlier about where all this stuff goes. Whoa. Where did my piece go? Oh, there it is. Oh, thank God. Don't lose that, eh? Alrighty. There we go. Like a glove. Like a glove. I'm going to go ahead and begin hand threading in now. So again, long one up front. And since we're dealing with aluminum, careful, careful. Make sure she threads properly. Alright, that one's good. Good and solid. Alright, let's hit the other one. That's going in like butter. I think on these newer cars, I love to start everything by hand first to ensure the threading is happening for safety. As the last thing you want is to cross thread this stuff. Just want to get a hold of her. Yeah, that's twisting nice and easy. Okay. That's going in nice and easy by hand as well. This one's not. Let's try again. Nope. There she goes. All right, good. Go ahead and snug her down. I think I'm going to start on, I'm going to do some sort of tightening pattern because we have the gasket going on. Okay. And now I'm just going to snug them all, give them about a quarter turn. Quarter turn of stank. Ugh, nope, not a quarter turn, just barely. Just a little bit Mustang. There we are. Now we hook up the linkages. And let's go see how it feels inside. Well, 5 was a little awkward, but really no difference. Almost forgot the crucial component here. This is the part I missed removing, or missed grabbing the footage of removing. But it goes right down in here, and this pin governs the or guides. What am I looking for? Yeah, this pin, the pin on the end of the bolt slips into that 6-point guide system that you saw earlier in the video. So you definitely don't want to forget this guy. So we'll put her on in there. And that's a 14. That's a 14 millimeter. On there. Okay. There we go. Oh. Well. I don't have an oil catch can on this thing. And what I'm assuming is with the way that I drive, this much oil is not that big of a deal. She's a little janky, but no worries. It's a little dirty in there. That's to be expected from this vehicle. Okay. Let's get the air cleaner back on and go rip around town a little bit and see how we did. Ooh, one other thing I forgot was this. So there's definitely a bug in this vehicle that caused welds to break and this guy to break and this weld to break. This is where they originally, this is the old school SRI mount that Sure used to hook up to these bolts, and it put too much stress on this. So I think I'm going to do the right thing. Shout outs to you, Derek. I think I'm going to do the right thing here and get some zip ties. Alright, take her for a quick spin. She fires right up like a champ. Like the champion she is. Let's take her around the block. Alright, noticing it's a little tougher than usual to get into gear, but what I'm hoping is once we get some juices flowing, so too shall the gears. Got a check engine light. That's never good. One of the beauties of having the cob access port is actually the ability to check and clear these codes that might pop. So maybe as an addendum to the to this repair video, I'll pull that code. I'll be satisfied if I make it home and she's not puking trans fluid. Looks pretty good. Let's see if I can't find a flashlight so I can show you. No pukage yet. Seems good. We'll see about that code. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take a picture of all of these, but then I'm going to clear them. Because I think they will go away. I think they probably freaked out because I left the battery plugged in while I did all that work. intake air temperature circuit high. Yeah, let's clear them. Alright, immediately error codes go away. There we go. We are the winners. In the next episode, we'll go over cleaning all the shit out of the back of your car. And cleaning all the dust out of your engine compartment. Man. Yeah, I've neglected her a little bit. Anyway, see y'all next time.